Okay, here we go. We are up and running. Shalom,
Okay.
shalom, everyone. Welcome back. This is chapter 17 of our Bible weekly discourse. So we're going to get right into it. This is Revelations chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the
Oh,
king.
real quick, just like we did the first time, I just want to go over verse 15 when it talks about like the waters, so like the listeners can have like an aspect of what it's talking about.
Right. So, verse 15, we said many waters. And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sits, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So, let's look up Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty sits on many waters of peoples, nations, and tongues. Okay. Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunken with the wine of her fornication. Now, that fornication is spiritual fornication, basically things that go against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Word of God. Okay, so the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with her wine. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So he saw this woman sitting on a beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns. Now that 7 heads, it's going to go down. Where is that? Okay, now, verse 9, going down to describe the 7 heads. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Now we know Rome was founded on 7 hills. Okay. So, quick picture. The 7 hills of Rome. So if you were in actual Rome, you would see 7 large, hills that have names. Okay. So the 7 hills of Rome. So going back to verse 9, and here's the mind, have the wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Let's go back up. Verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a gold cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. So the woman is sitting on top of a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Those 7 heads are 7 mountains. So the woman is not the beast. So we know the beast with the 7 heads are Rome, and she sits on top of it. So she's an extension or connected to the beast. Okay? So people get this conflated when they read it without going to precepts. They keep getting the woman and the beast mixed up. So, the woman had 7 heads. No. The woman sits on top of the beast with 7 heads. Okay? Now, on her forehead was Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Now, who are the saints? You have that Psalm, Michael, I think, is it 140?
I think you're looking for Psalms 50 and 5.
No.
References the saints.
Yeah.
I think that's Psalms 50. Let me look real quick. I was holding something else.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, Psalms 50 and 5. Okay. Psalms 50 and 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those who have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Okay. We know the children of Israel made a covenant with the Lord by sacrifice. Let's go to another verse, another scripture. Now, Psalms 149, let's start at verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praise of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. Now, who are these saints? Let's go to verse 1. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise him and let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with timbrel and harp. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praise of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgments written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. Okay.
Cut and dry.
Yeah. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, children of Israel, and the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Where dost thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carries her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. So we'll stop right here. So we see a progression of this beast that was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So that was, we know that's old Rome. That is not, has not come into fruition at the time of this writing, when John was seeing this vision, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now we know that the bottomless pit is Europe, and then go into perdition. Okay? And they that dwell in the earth shall wonder, whose names are written, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Okay? So was, ancient Rome, is not, has not come, and yet is. It's there as they're talking. So let's go to the second sentence, or the second part after the colon. And they that dwell on the earth, shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. Now, why are they wondering? So, we've all been at some point drunk with Babylon's wine, but once we come into the truth, we realize, what Babylon is, and it all makes sense in terms of our history and, the blessings and cursings in Deuteronomy 28. But these are the people that are still attached to Babylon. So in Revelations 18, when it says, "Come out of her, my people," are the ones that are written in that are written in the book of life. So those who are not, those are the ones who still want to be here. These are the ones who still marvel and wonder. Okay.
Still want to be in like the economic system. Still want to vote. Still believe in the setup of the beast.
Yeah, and not
the religions.
And not only that, when you try to tell them that America is Babylon, they raise holy hell and don't want to hear it. So like we said, we are all part of that system. So at some point, like when we were woken up, it was like, okay, I'm starting to shed attachments to this place to the point where it's like almost disdain. I'm going to get the hell out of here. But like you said, like, no, I'm still voting. There's still change going to come. No, I still want to get my achievements, my riches, my whatever. I still want part of the American pie, so to speak. So, now, and
This might be a side note, but it's crazy when you have like I had a conversation with somebody on that topic this week, and they really don't think this place is gonna like ever end. Like they think it's gonna last like forever.
And no empire ever does. When they're when they're in charge, they think they're You talk to ancient Egypt right before Moses came back. You're like, hey, you guys think this is gonna is there a shelf life? No, this is gonna last forever. Look, we're the superpower. And then you go to Assyrian, all the other nations. Rome, like, there's no way you can convince at the height of Rome or Greece that it was going to fall. Even in the early declining stages, you still couldn't convince people it was going to fall.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard to convince people that this place is like circling the drain.
Okay. Verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. So let me see if I can get those. So there are 5 kings. Okay. So there are 5 kings. 5 are fallen. Egypt, Assyria. Oh, can you see my screen?
I haven't been able to see it, but I wasn't sure if it was like recording the screen and I just couldn't see it.
Oh, let me I didn't hit present. So the screen is recording, so the people in the video will be able to see it, but I just want to make sure that you can follow along too. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, 5 are fallen. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece. Okay? 5 are fallen. 1 is. That's Rome. And 1 is not. And when it comes, it must continue a short space. That's America. Okay? So, and there are 7 kings. Okay? And the beast, so you see them making a distinction between verse 10 and 11. And the beast, because verse 10 talks about 7 kings. Verse 11 goes back to the beast. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7 that goes into perdition. Okay? So he's of that 7. He's of this 7 and goes into perdition. So now when you says he is the 8th, so what do you take that as?
Yeah, see, I was gonna say that's one verse that actually kind of trips me up.
Okay.
Because I understand like the seven kings, obviously, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, and so on to America. But I don't.
Oh, I think I got it. Because it's it says the beast. So and is not and is he is the 8th and of the 7. So the 7 is going back to its heads. So the 7 heads are Rome. So even he is the 8th. That's talking about the nation that comes out of Rome and goes into perdition. So it goes into perdition. Let's go back up to verse 8. And the beast thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. So that bottomless pit, we know that was the Renaissance period or whatever, and eventually America, and goes into perdition.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So that 10 horns are on top of the beast. We know, let's go through those 10 horns. You have France, UK, Germany, Belgium, Greece, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and Italy. Okay? So those are the 10 horns on top of the beast. And every country here had some time in the sun in terms of being an empire. Okay? So, or receiving wealth from the children of Israel. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and Kings of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Okay? So, this making war with the Lamb, this could be talking about these when he returns, making war with the Messiah and his angels. But we saw when the devil was cast down, he went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which is us. So, verse 15. And he said unto me,
one thing real quick I wanted to point out just
sure.
about that. Would you see what they're doing with like Space Forces, like in a way kind of preparing for that to try to make war with the Lamb?
Yeah, I see that. I've seen a lot of those Elon Musk videos and all that other stuff. Yeah, I mean it's definitely fruitful. It's fruitless. They're not going to
very fruitless.
Yeah. So, verse 15. And the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sits, are peoples, multitudes, and nations and tongues. So we see that as a huge melting pot. See that as a huge melting pot of people. Melting, not the restaurant, melting pot. Nations. So yes, the melting pot. So where the woman sits, are multiple peoples, nations, multitudes, and tongues. Okay, so we know America is known for being a melting pot.
Even if you want to go further than just like our borders, like our military bases are pretty much in every country, like across like the whole globe. So
yeah,
even with that, that's sitting upon many waters as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So just U.S. military bases around the world. Okay. So here are the U.S. bases around the world. Okay. So multiple waters. Even if you talk about the U.S. as a melting pot, but the U.S. as a nation. As a military power, they're spread all across. So, yeah, that's it.
Also, another point with that, just to make it like threefold, even like democracy, how like they push democracy on like many different countries.
Oh yes. So with that, with U.S. foreign aid, so that foreign aid is attached to conditions. So, for instance, Obama was withholding foreign aid. They were withholding military aid for countries who did not pass same-sex marriages.
I was reading up on that too.
So, yeah, you see that. So yeah, that's part of America's influence. And hey, do what we say. Yes. So let's go back. Let's go back to verse. Let's read 15 again. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sits, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So the horns will turn on the beast, which we know that's old Rome, which they not turned on her yet. That's old Rome, but we're talking about the woman. So the 10 horns, these shall hate the woman. Let's go back to that picture. The horns, the European Union, shall hate the woman and shall make her desolate, naked, eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
I got a precept for the burn her with fire.
Sure.
All right, Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So that kind of goes into what we had talked about, like a thermonuclear fire. That's like the only thing that could really do that we technology wise know about.
Yeah, that's a good precept. Now, verse 17. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So he's going to put it in their heart to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast. So, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. Now we know that this is where some people try to get out of saying, it can't be America because America's a country. Right here it says great city. So Rome is a city, but it was never called the Italian Empire, or it was never called the Italian. It was called the Roman Empire. But you see here, Rome is a city, so you can't say, oh well, it's a city, blah blah blah. No. You can't say that. So
I got a quick precept for verse 17 where it talks about for God hath put in their hearts.
Yeah.
Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will.
Okay.
So basically, they might press the button, but God put it in their hearts to do so at the moment appointed.
True. All right. So that concludes chapter 17. I don't have any else concerning that. So, do you?
No, that's all I had.
Okay. So, let's go ahead and end it here. And if there's any other questions, please put in the comments below. We'll get back to you. And we'll see you next week. Shalom.
Hey, shalom.
All right. Take care.